We talked about my life story, $7 production, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. That's his, production company, to do my life story. And we picked Jon Bernthal to play me in what we thought was going to be a series.
Yeah.
And we were, going to do a series for a couple seasons, 2 or 3 seasons in the series. And John's very tight with Taylor Sheridan. And so some different names were being kicked around.
Which would have been amazing.
Yeah. Recently, I said, okay, Jon, now that we're here, and we're going to get ready to start do this, and you got to get into character. And he goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to come and stay by you and Little Mel for a while and, get into character. Because, once he gets in character, he pretty much stays there. And he goes, Mel, I'm going to get in your mind. And I got to get deep in your mind. And he goes, and I know some things you've suppressed over the years and some things you forgot about. And then we got some news at the beginning of this year that changed it around. And this is where I want to respectfully let them make the first announcement. But I can say this. Now it's going to the big screen.
Let's go.
Right to the movie theater.
Let's go.
No series, a movie. John's still playing
and
me.
And John's going to bring it.
Man, he is so stoked.
Guys, welcome to the Sidney Gordon Let me check that. Yep, Sidney Gordon podcast, as said here on the screen. I'm Nick Kumalatzos. I'm here with Mel Chancey. And Mel, the last time we did this, we took 3 years ago. Well, we've done a bunch.
Yeah.
But man,
it was our first one together.
That
was our first one. Remember, you're like, man, we've been waiting for this for a while.
Yeah. So if you guys want to know more about this, go to I got it pulled up right here. Go to YouTube and type in "The Life of a Former Hell's Angel Chapter President" with Mel Chancey, Nick Kumalatzos. It's on the Nick Kumalatzos Show channel. 3.6 million views. I dare say the most viewed podcast that you've ever been on.
100%.
More than Chris Cavallini's.
Yes.
More than Jon Bernthal's real ones. I love you, Jon, but I got you beat.
For sure on that one. And it was crazy how that kept climbing.
It just kept. It's still going.
And in 3 years ago, we didn't have. You didn't have his biggest following. I didn't have his biggest following. It was. It was a good one though. That was 2 hours, huh?
Yeah. So we told a little bit of the story, your story there, but some big news has dropped in conjunction with that story. For those that don't know,
it has. So
tell us what you can tell us.
Okay. So we talked about my life story and $7 production, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. That's his production company. His brother-in-law Hiram Garcia and his ex-wife Danny Garcia. Right, they're all the three partners in this, and so they took on to do my life story, and we picked Jon Bernthal, who happens to be Sidney's brother-in-law. Right, and coincidence there. John and Dwayne didn't know that. To play me in what we thought was going to be a series.
Yeah.
And we were, going to do a series for a couple seasons, 2 or 3 seasons in the series. And John's very tight with Taylor Sheridan. And so some different names were being kicked around.
Which would have been amazing.
Yeah. And then we got some news at the beginning of this year that changed it around. And this is where I want to respectfully let them make the first announcement. But I can say this. Now it's going to the big screen.
Let's go.
Right to the movie theater.
Let's go.
No series, a movie. John's still playing me.
And John's going to bring it.
Man, he is so stoked. Dude, we got a funny John story because when Dwayne picked him he said, I got this guy and he can play you, and he's a great producer, great mind, great actor. He can play the old you, Mel, when you're the gritty you, and he can play the new you where you're at, where you're at. And I said, okay, who is it, DJ? And he finally told me, and he goes, Jon Bernthal. And me and little Mel was in the car with me. We chuckled. And he goes, what are you laughing for? He goes, wait, you know him? I said, yeah, I know him. But I'm going to tell you how I know him, And then I said, hey, listen, he's my core medical. He's my partner, Sidney's brother-in-law. He married Erin Engel. Sid married Jackie Engel, and I go, and them are the nieces to your friend Kurt Engel.
Yeah.
And he goes, wow, I am blown away.
What a freaking small world.
What a small world.
Yeah.
Right? And he didn't know it. And he goes, if I was being respectful for you, because Dwayne is such a good brother and good friend to me. Everything he does, he's so respectful. And he goes, I wanted to pick the right guy. And he goes, here, he's like family, right? I go, he's like family, man. I said, so cool. He goes, well, I'll let you call Jon. We'll call his agent. This is back now probably 4 years now.
Right.
The project's been being worked on for about 6. Very organically, we're telling the story. So it was just funny how that came to. So when this new thing came out and we just got the news that we were going to go to the movie, and he said, well, okay, you call John on that one. I go, I'll let him know that one. So John's excited. And when we were on the phone with John, when we first started, I'll rewind, we first started and we got on a Zoom call with John, and he said, okay, John, we know you could play a great Mel character, blah, blah, blah. And he said, when the time's right, he goes, you go over and get with Mel and stay with Mel, and he'll train you, and little Mel will cook the food for you. And, he goes, 10, 12 pounds on you. It's going to look great on the TV, on the video screens. Right. He goes, we got the right camera angles. You're going to look huge. And John goes, 10, 12 pounds? Man, screw that. He goes, I want to put on 40. And I go, what? I go, John, we're not trying to kill you. You got to play me. We're not trying to, you can't die. I said, you ain't getting, we all started laughing, we're like, John, you can't get that, because we were in the first, we're like, I don't think there's no A-list actors that are 290 pounds like I was back in the day, right? That was the funny story. So, John, as you know him well from working with him and being his dear friend, he's got that, he's taller than me. I'm 5'10". He's got to be about 6'1" or 2". He's got that lean build. So he's lean muscle. He never bodybuilded at all. He doesn't know that kind of training.
Played basketball and
played
boxing
basketball. And never ate any kind of solid food to where he needed to bodybuild. So, I was telling Sidney, I'm like, Sidney, I go, me training him for however long I can train him, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and then he takes that home. Mel's showing him how to eat, feeding him, and he takes that home. I go, that lean muscle that he puts on, that 10, 12 pounds of lean muscle that he's going to put on, is going to look good on him,
It's going to look good on camera, yeah.
Yeah, and, the different angles. And
we did, that's what we did with The Punisher. I think that this special presentation that we did this past summer will be the biggest version of himself on screen as The Punisher.
Really?
And he was super lean. We still leaned out.
Yeah.
We still leaned out. So he was super ripped. There's a photo of him in the makeup room, super lean.
Yeah.
But you put another 15 pounds on top of that.
Yeah. That's the gimmick right there.
And the thing is with that, what's kind of nice is he doesn't have to be super lean for this character.
Of course.
So we can just get big.
Just get him big and full.
Yeah.
Listen, it ain't like he's going to be up on a bodybuilding stage in trunks. He's going to have jeans on. And, like I ran around back in, running the Hells Angels, I'm jeans and boots and cut-off shirts and stuff like that, his patch on. He's going to look menacing, And I asked him recently, I said, okay, John, now that we're here, and we're going to get ready to start do this, and you got to get into character. And he goes, oh yeah, I'm going to come and stay by you and little Mel for a while, and get into character, because once he gets in character, he pretty much stays there, in his mind and stuff, And I said, what's the most thing you're looking forward to, I said, I seen your goatee like mine before. I seen you in some movies where you had the Fu Manchu and stuff like that, the handlebars, I don't know what you're going to do with the hair, like that. And he goes, no, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is getting your accent down. I said, accent? He goes, yeah, Mel, you got a unique accent. I said, I no one's ever told me that before, because you do. You got that neat unique Chicago accent. I said, okay. And he goes, Mel, I'm going to get in your mind, and I got to get deep in your mind. And he goes, and I know some things you've suppressed over the years and some things you forgot about, which is, true. And we were talking earlier, me and you, and, getting to going back in our minds from, it's a lot sometimes. I think about it,
it was interesting, and my wife kind of warned me. One, when I wrote my book, which John read, and then put a lot of that into this special. Very kind of him to include me and include some of that story. But it aligns very much with the Frank Castle story, and based on Frank's background. And but when I was on set and John was doing those scenes, it was eerie. It was very eerie of how he was doing that, and then the emotions that I felt. It was like reliving. So a lot of the scenes that people will see, it's like, even though it's different, the emotions there and the situation is the same, and it was rough, man. So you got to prepare yourself that it's going to be the way they do it, man. The way that they recreate this, even though it's not real, right? You're on a movie set,
right?
But John's so good.
Yeah, he's
so good that you being there and you watching it even on a screen in a tent, it's like reliving that event.
All of that event. and
So.
and they want to make it so it's so true to the life story with Jon and Dwayne, with their hands on it. And so, getting ready for it, and the last 6 years, telling the story, and it's been there. But now that we're where we're at in the steps that we're at now, and going over it, and John's like, I obviously need to sit down with the retired ATF agent Chris Bayless, as we know, great guy, and he goes, I got to get in his head. He goes, because Mel, he goes, you have a way of not telling the story right. He goes, you always minimize stuff. And Chris goes, yeah, he was even trying that in the courtroom. He was trying to minimize his role and stuff like that. So he goes, and Chris goes this.
You've been always telling the PG
Always
version.
telling the PG versions of my life and what we did back in the day, right? So Chris goes like this. He goes, John, he goes, and Chris gave up everything, all that, the whole RICO stuff, and what they had, a 10-year investigation on us. They called it Operation Gabriel, the bad, the good angel versus the bad angels, and the whole 9 yards. And Chris goes, Chris and John got close in all these last, 4 or 5 years. And he said, yeah, he goes, we'll sit with me when the time's right. He goes, because I'm going to show you a little bit about asshole Mel, right? And, nobody, Chris says that. And he goes, Mel don't like to get, down and dirty with some things. And I said, yeah, I get it. But John goes, I'm going to get in your head. I go, well, good thing, John, you're playing me. And, I made a bunch of bad decisions during the day. But, we were just talking about the likes of guys like Whitey Bulger and Charles Manson, psychopaths, right? I said, good thing I wasn't that, and you got to get in my head, and it's a dark place. I go, you
go in there, you might not come out.
You might not come back out, right? I just made some bad decisions and got involved in some violence. I go, but I was never that guy, that psychopath guy. I just was, we were biker on biker violence. We thought it was okay back in the day.
So I don't know if you can say, but is this you gonna see both sides of Mel in this thing?
I believe so, because I see how they set up this. They call it the deck. I see how it's set up, the arc of it, and of course it starts out in the beginning of the war, with us and the outlaws and all the RICO predicate acts that I was committing back then, to the rise of me becoming the president, to the reign, to the prison sentences, to the raids. They call it all these R's, to the raids, and then to the redemption.
Yeah.
So definitely ending in where I'm at now with my walk with the Lord.
It's going to be interesting.
The redemption part of what I, did with my life when I came home from prison, right? And I tell everybody that. They're like, Mel, you did such an amazing job. And I say, well, I have to give the credit to my Lord and Savior, because if it was just up to me again, and you gave me the wheel of the car, well, I'd still be in the strip clubs making illegal money and doing everything, because that's what I did. Yeah. And I never wanted a job, and I never wanted to live the white picket fence and the whole 9 yards, which I laugh now, because my home has the white vinyl fence, and I have 2 grandbabies, and my daughter's 40 these days. And
loving it.
I'm loving it. I love, me, I wouldn't, I mean, and we've been on many podcasts together. I remember once you said, Mel, you truly are a guy who says he found the Lord and is true about it, and did a 180 in your life.
It's funny because you see people in the internet. You'll say like, you even told me that, like, oh, he's faking. This is all an act.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you can't. That's a hell of an act.
I remember when we were talking about that. I'm home since 2008.
Yeah.
I'm not a mathematician, but that's a long time, right?
That's a long time.
That's a long time, man. And guys were like, still back from my old neighborhood in Chicago. I've been in Florida now 11 years. They're like, yeah. They'd see some of my friends, and they're like, so you hadn't seen him, right? And my friend Jamie would be like, I see him all the time. Come on, man. He's just putting an act on to keep the feds off his back, right? And they're like, Jamie's like, what? And I'm like, if I could put this act on from 2008 to now, I would be Jon Bernthal or Dwayne Johnson. Right, I would be the A-list actor. Right. That's a method actor right there. So, that was only by the grace of God.
Can we talk about how things didn't move forward maybe 2-3 years ago, and why?
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah, because I think that people are really aching for this now. So like there was. Go ahead and say.
Yeah. So when we started this, and we were going to do a documentary first.
Yeah.
And before the series, and Billy Corben jumped aboard. We talked about that. Billy Corben from Cocaine Cowboys and Square Grouper and 30 for 30, just the king of the man. Billy's the man, and jumped on it and stuff. And we were thinking, okay, let's do the documentary. And we started putting that together, and we made the sizzle reel and everything. Well, the actor strike happened. Mm-hmm. The writer strike happened.
Right.
COVID obviously was going on.
Yeah.
And then the different administration came in, so to say, right? And so the popular things became the LGBTQ and, you know, and all that stuff, right? And a story that,
DEI and
yeah, and a story that is kind of, not kind of, but is a testosterone-filled story of me being a young man and in the Hells Angels and the violence and the war between the outlaws that became, you know, infamous, and it's on every gangland and stuff. You know, me being the head of the realm was a little bit too much for that, you know, them times.
what they were trying to put out at the time.
Yes.
Which was complete garbage.
Complete garbage.
And the results showed.
The results showed. I mean, they forced a lot of stuff down our throats, right?
Yeah.
Back in them, you know,
Yeah.
you know, in that old administration. I'll keep it that way. Politically, you know, I don't ever have a horse in the race. Number one, I can't vote. I can't get my rights redone because of RICO.
Yeah.
So I can't get the gun rights back. I can't get the voting rights back. I love the country. You know how how close I am with the military.
Yeah, of course.
Because all my family served. You know, as everybody knows, you know, a question I get a lot
Well,
is
you
like,
served time.
federal, yeah, I did serve federal, yeah, federal time. But people ask me all the time, like, Mel, when you know, how did you get so involved with the military? Why are you such a, you know, military guys? Why are you such a big supporter like that? You know, you never served. I said, well, my dad was in Korean War. My uncle was in Vietnam. All my boy cousins were Afghanistan and Desert Storm, and you know I joined the Hells Angels. So I went on a different route. You know what I mean? And but for service, man, I love our country, God and our country. I knew God. I was born in a strict Catholic home. I was an altar boy, a student council. I was, you know, the least likely guy to join a motorcycle club, right, and become what I did. So I say that's why I am so close with the military and stuff, you know, our guys. And then of course, you know, I come over with Core, and lo and behold, a month after I'm here, you're the first person that we get to kind of come and Rocco Vargas, you know, and then you, and then I'm like, wow, I'm getting to meet, you know, these guys that did so much for our country.
It blew up.
It just blew up. Yeah. And I say all the time, I'm in these rooms with your guys like yourself and these guys, and I say, man, I'm in a room with 10 dudes, and this is the safest room I think I've been in my life. And I've been in a lot of clubhouses with a lot of hard dudes, right? Bad dudes, but you know, military is different. So I say that to say this. So the timing, and I used to say to my dear friend that is running this project over at $7 Productions, his name's Frankie. It's like my little brother. When he first started this for me, you know, 6 years ago, he started calling me. He goes, I'm your prospect. I'm here to take notes and, you know, debrief you, and I'm your prospect, you know. And when we were, you know, thinking about pitching this, and Billy was like, there's nobody that wants this right now. It's just not a fit. And Frankie'd be like, man. And I'm like, okay, it's all right, bro. God's timing.
Yeah.
He's got a plan.
Yeah.
And it's going to be when he wants it. And if this is to just reach one person that's in that rock bottom right now, just one out of all these big players that are here, then that's what the gimme is, right?
It'll happen when it happens.
It'll happen. I said, Frankie, Mel Chancey from the south suburbs of Chicago, who grew up in a very strict, you know, Italian home, didn't put Jon Bernthal together, $7 Production together, Dwayne Johnson together, because I got a cool haircut. You know, I said, so
you ain't fabricating all of this.
No.
In one go.
You can't. I mean, you can't even. Sometimes I sit back and I'm like, is this happening? Like, I'm on the phone with these people now discussing to the stuff that I'm not going to say just yet, because I want to let them make the announcement of where this is going to go to. And I'm like, wow, and now these people are involved. And I'm like, wow, you couldn't even, if you would have told me this 10 years ago when I was still a believer, I would have been like, come on, man, that ain't happening. And, you know, and now I'm just blown away by it. But I see, because when we did our podcast 3 years ago, okay, me and Chris Cavallini he was the first one I ever did it with, right? And then we did ours. And the people that had seen that, Nick, and DM'd me, every time I opened up a DM and I'm listening to somebody with these messages, and then I go look at their profile, they're a member in this club, they're a member in this street gang, they're a member in this Italian Wise Guys. They're reaching out to me because they said, we want to know. We seen something in your eyes in that podcast. We either heard about you back in the day, or some of them said we knew who you were back in the day because you were in our opposite rival. You were our rival. we knew you were a jerk off. You know what I mean? We knew you were a bad dude and stuff. And now you're talking like this. And we seen you on Nick's podcast and you're talking about the Lord like this. They're reaching out to me. Next thing I'm telling them, hey guys, this is too much to type. Here's my phone number. I'm getting them on the phone, and now they're part of the devotional team and gave their life to Christ. And so I say, all right, Lord, I see the platform that you are building and allowing me to be a part of, because what's coming to me is like, I use Tim Tebow as an example. Love the dude. Never watched him playing sports. Never watched him. But when I seen what he did with the John 3:16 under his eyes, and I seen that he's been a believer since he's been a kid, and what he does with his platform, that encouraged me. I said, this is a good dude here.
Yeah.
And you know, then like my 40-year pastor friend, Pastor Steve Trillio, said to me, he goes, listen, Tim's reaching people that you can't reach. You're reaching people Tim can't reach. We all have a platform that God builds. He goes, these motorcycle guys and these gangsters and everything ain't reaching out to Tim Tebow, but they're reaching out to Mel Chancey, right? And I said, yeah, P.S., you got a point. So I see the platform, I see it, and I say this about the John 3:16 devotional team. We're going to be 6 years in April that we're doing this. And from all over the world, people from all over the world. If God put everybody together in one room, there's some bad cats on this team.
Yeah.
Some bad cats. You know, you watch them. We've been prayed for you for when you and Allie were going things. Yeah. Hey, Mel, I need some lifting up. We got you. Lifting the names up in the morning. And it just grew so strong with this team, and I watched lives being changed. And, you know, and I had a lot of people say, Mel, we follow you. And I tell them, you don't follow me. I'm just being the vessel. I'm giving the devotional. I'm reading it from the Bible. I'm reading the passages. And your relationship with the Lord is your relationship with the Lord. I'm not around you. You live in Australia. You live in England.
Right.
You're not following me. We're just following the Lord. And I just happen to be a John the Baptist. Right. I don't want to put myself in that category. I'm not saying that, but John the Baptist, what was he doing? He was preaching the word. He was the perfect conduit. So I'd say that to them. I'm blessed to be doing that. And there's so many encouraging people on the team and so many people that I get the fellowship. It's amazing. Then I get to go and help run the IFBB and the NPC, and we're at our core medical events. You know, I've been home, I said, since 2008, 2009, 10, 11, when I would see people. What do they want to come up and talk to me about? My former life.
Yeah.
Now that is way out the door, and they're talking to me about the devotional team, core medical or whatever where I'm at now.
But going back, I think that what it is the pendulum swung so hard the opposite direction.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, in my opinion, and this is not the opinion of the Sidney Gordon podcast, it's the Nick Kumalat's opinion, but in a very evil, dark way.
Yeah.
It was a very dark time.
Yeah.
And I think it hurt a lot of people. I think it hurt a lot of youth. And now the pendulum is swinging hard the other direction. And it's interesting, the timing of telling your story, because, I think people are craving testosterone and Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What a combination.
Yeah. Maybe that should be on a T-shirt. We should get that on a T-shirt.
Testosterone and Jesus. I like that, for real, bro. For real. Because, that's... we have to stand on our own as men, right?
Yeah.
And, when you try to take that out of a man, then that's not good. And then,
and there is a testosterone epidemic. That's the reason why that's how we know each other. That's what Core's thing is. And we're trying to optimize people and get them to live a better life. But it's amazing how you optimize that, you get them healthy, and then all this kind of stuff, things kind of start happening on the back end. But I think that it's amazing that this deal got done at the time that it did, because I do believe that people are just like, the time is now.
Yeah.
Time, like you see more people connecting with their faith.
Yeah.
And connecting with the Lord more than ever.
Huge right now. They say Bible sales right now are at a mark they've never been ever in life.
Isn't that amazing?
And the Bible says, Christ says before he comes back, that the gospel will be preached to all of the earth.
Yeah.
All of it. How many years ago did maybe Somalia, they didn't have tablets or whatever. They didn't, before all this social media came out, there was no Bibles that were allowed there. How could you, how Christ being as fair as God, or a fair God, you can't judge somebody if they don't know the word, right? They have to know the word.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the harder physics, right? Mm-hmm. With every action, there's an equal or greater action on the back end of that. So I think that they pushed this stuff down our throat so hardcore that I really do believe was a really, really evil agenda. to hurt people.
No question
and,
about it.
And control. And the things that they were pushing was just dark and demented and unhealthy. I mean, they were hurting people. And I'm not going to get into specifics. I'll let you connect the dots. But really hurting people.
Yes.
Right? And I think that when you do that through physics, it's proven that the opposite is going to happen. Like there's going to be almost like a rebellion, like a push back.
Yeah.
Which, in a lot of ways, I'm like, good.
Right.
Good. You should get connected to your family more. You should be the very best version of yourself. You should go get a dang blood test and see where your hormones are at, because like that could be a big portion of why you feel disconnected and why you don't feel the way that you're supposed to do. So the timing of this story being made is really beautiful.
Amazing.
And I know that probably for you it was kind of, and I know you have faith, but even then sometimes it's like, oh man, this is hard. Like this has been a long
6 years.
6 years. Like it has to be like grueling a little bit to be like, and then we're gonna go this, and then that gets shut down. We're gonna do this, and that gets shut down, and we're just, and you're just in it. Yeah. And to hit this milestone where they're starting to spend money.
Right. Yeah. Now it's in the right.
Now it's
now it's in that direction where it's going. So, I always say this. I always term this, and I say there's no coincidences in the kingdom. Right.
No.
I mean, look at what we've seen just in Core Medical with me and you in the last 8 years of being here.
Yeah.
Just the doors that opened in this person and that person.
Look at our lives. Just look at our lives and the return of investment on life in the last 8 years.
For sure.
It's been I'm so incredibly thankful to this group of people.
How about we were just talking, we stopped at our jeweler friends here in town, Peter. Jewels in time, Peter. We love you. And, we both got watches on from Peter. So Peter never met Nick, and we stopped over there, and, he read Nick's book, and Nick wanted to meet him. So we were talking in there, and I said, I'm 56 now. And I said, when I came home from prison at 41, I got my first credit card in life. Right, I never had anything, and when Melissa wasn't my wife at the time, in 2009 when I moved her to Chicago, we went to the bank and to go do the credit card and stuff, and the bank looked and said, "Wait a minute, you don't have good credit, you don't have bad credit, you have no credit. Where you been?" And I go, I just haven't been around, right? I wasn't filing no taxes.
Mel telling the PG version again of the story.
Yeah, the PG. Everything I did was cash, and I didn't know what a credit card was, and all my underhanded business was cash. Like, hey, can we pay you for that in credit card? No. What are you nuts? Like, so. And it's funny because now here, me and Melissa got the perfect credit score, the house with this. So I always say no coincidences in the kingdom. If you would have, rolled me back to 20 something years ago and said, this is your life, here's where you're going to be, could have been the Lord himself standing in front of me. And I would have been like, come on, you're just pulling my chain. Like, cause I never seen myself doing any of the stuff like that. My daughter's going to be 40. I had her when I was just turning 17. I was still 16, but just turning 17. And, my oldest grandbaby, 18, the youngest one's going to be 12. I just the family, and I used to say to the guys, you got the family and the white picket fence. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to run through chicks and be young and make money, and just, I got bit by the bug of the violence.
That ain't it, though.
No, you couldn't pay me. Funny thing is, I had a meeting in Tampa over the weekend, Friday and Saturday, and ended up right at this hotel, right across the street from my dear friend's club called the Dollhouse. Okay. My friend and his wife. I've had many people in this for years, and I've been friends with him and his wife many, many years. And I took a picture of it, and it was a Friday night. I rolled in there, and they were like, "You're in town?" And I said, "I'm right across the street at the Hyatt. I have a meeting in the morning. I have dinner tonight." And they said, "You're going to come see us?" I said, "I'm going to come see you, but in the parking lot." I stayed in the parking lot because I haven't been in a strip club in about 6 years. I stayed in the parking lot. Owner came out. The staff started coming out. The security guys that had known me for so long, they're coming out in the parking lot. I'm out there with my John 3:16 devotional team T-shirt, right? And the owner says, I understand, Mel. I get it now. He goes, for years I didn't understand. You weren't coming to see us no more. I said, man, listen, I don't dip my toe in the pool.
Yeah.
Because if I do, I'm going to dive in.
Yeah.
I don't ride a motorcycle. I don't go to gentlemen's clubs anymore. I don't do all the stuff that I used to do because I don't want it to be a trigger for me. Happens I walk in that gentleman's club and all of a sudden I see something shiny in there, and now I'm in big trouble. And now that I get caught up in that, I'm going to be asking you if I could sleep in your back bedroom for the next 20 years, right? Because with Mel, I don't know where we bank, as you see. I don't know anything, so she don't even have to get a lawyer to divorce
You would
me.
just be out.
She could date rape me without even going, right? I'll be like, okay, thank you for the credit card, that works, right? So, to me, I have to stay away from any of them triggers. I know myself, and if I didn't go to prison and get taken out of that lifestyle, I wouldn't have left. I was 27 years old the first time I went away. I was running through that industry, that life. I was the king of that life, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't have left, but going and losing my freedom that first time opened up my eyes. I didn't have any problems in that state prison, in that federal prison I went to for them 4 years. Not a problem when I was 300 pounds. I was the Hell's Angel leader. I got along with everybody. Everybody was nice and cordial to me. But I lost my freedom. And watching my family come in the visiting room and crying with me and stuff like that hit hard, right? Then I came home and got my life together and exited the club and started doing my own thing. And 4 years later, I got the RICO indictment for the stuff I did in the 90s, right? I had to pay the penance, right? And that was my cleansing, as I say. That was God telling me, hey, man, you've been a bad kid, sit in the corner. Let me let you think about this. Because when I came home the first time and I was on a non-association with the club, I thought I was a good guy now. I wasn't shooting dudes off their motorcycles. I wasn't selling drugs. I wasn't doing this violence. But I could not shake the womenizing, and I replaced the violence from biker violence to nightclub violence, because when somebody came in our nightclub and if they were screwing up, a group of guys, well, we punished them down there. So I was thriving on that, and then the womenizing was bad. When I say, like, guys had a lot of girlfriends and was a womanizer, I was a womanizer, bro, bad. And, it was hard for me to, when I went back the second time, and I'm like, okay, God, how did I get here? And I'm like, well, let me rephrase that. Let me not ask it. I know how I got here. I go, but I was doing good. I thought I was on my way to different things. And then Nick, I felt it. It was February of 2005. My doors got kicked in the late December. And I was in an 8x10 by myself, and it was cold in this facility they were holding me, and no bond for the RICO. And I felt that him speak upon my heart. I didn't hear his voice, none of that stuff. He didn't appear in the cell. I felt that weight of, you thought you were a good guy, but look what you're still doing. You can't give me part of your stuff. You have to full surrender to me. And then I started getting back in the scripture, and I started thinking, like, this full surrender, okay, I'm going to jump in the passenger seat. I'm going to give you the wheel, which I thought I did when I came home, but I kept grabbing the wheel because I wanted to go to the gentleman's club. I wanted to go do this. Christ ain't going there with me. You know what I mean? So he was like, you want the wheel? Just take it and drive it from the passenger seat. I crashed the car again. Yeah. So now when I came home in '08, I always thought of that full surrender. Okay, Lord, I can't say I'm giving it all to you, but I want to keep holding this in my life. Right. Full surrender. My dear friend Jamie, when I got out of prison, comes and he has my phone in his hand. And he goes, I know you're going to go get a new phone, but I kept this for you because, the contact's in there. I took the phone, I threw it in the garbage can. He goes, what are you doing? I go, I'm going to let him build that phone book. I said, I know my mother's number, I know my daughter's number, and your number, Jamie, that's all I need. I said, I'm going to let him build that. Right. And I look back now and say, wow, what a Rolodex I have of some pretty amazing people.
The amount of connections that you have.
Yes, now. Of some
positive,
amazing people in my life that have been so positive to me. My dear friend that just passed away, Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, he was not only my dear friend back when I was the Hell's Angel leader, and he was running crazy with the Hulkamania gimmick, and I was running crazy with my nickname Road. We did some, with the women and the, Vegas and the parties. Terry never did anything, like I was doing. He wasn't into that, but, we were still being goofballs in life. And then to come home and move an hour and a half from him, and we reconnect in 2000 and moved to Florida in 2014, and we reconnect, and that positivity, and then he's wanting to start a better relationship with the Lord, and he's seen that I did it, and he's like, wow. And then not only did he hear her, but now that I'm hanging with him all the time, he's telling me, like, Mel, wow, you truly are doing this, right? You're truly walking with the Lord. Like, you're not going to go to that spot. No, I can't do it, Ter. I can't do it. I'll sit around in your pool and have a few drinks with you and laugh and joke. I just can't go to them bars like I used to be in. I can't do it. And that opened his eyes, and not too long, a couple years ago, he got baptized.
I remember that.
Remember? He was wearing the John 3:16 devotional
that.
team
Yeah, he talked
T-shirts.
about that right on Joe.
On Joe Rogan, yeah. He wore she wore our T-shirt, the John 3:16
That was just
devotional.
a few months. That was just
Yeah,
less than a year, wasn't it?
about a year ago, I think that happened. Year and a half ago. So to see that, and to see, like, I had a little bit of being a conduit, the vessel that helped him along, because he wanted to know. He's like, "Oh, tell me about this full surrender," and I'd spend days with him, talking to him. I'm very grateful for that. So no coincidences, I say, Nick.
So it's interesting that you're bringing all this stuff up, because I hear a common theme with all of it that makes you successful, and people don't connect the dots enough with it. And it kind of goes into one of our events, but could you have gotten the success that you've had in your life, in this chapter of life, by yourself?
No, zero.
Because what I have seen, we've had this repeating conversation recently about the power of community, and everything that you've been telling the story about this chapter on both sides is really the power, like, is the community that you've built. You talked about the Rolodex,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'm going to build this new Rolodex, which basically means I'm going to build a new community for myself. And I think that a lot of people out there, the powers that be, want people isolated.
Sure.
They want them isolated because when you're isolated, you can be controlled,
Yeah.
right? It's like you're isolated, and the only information you're getting is the information that we're feeding you via whatever medium that you're plugged into.
Yeah.
But when you have community, you have other people that are sounding boards, and it's like your network is your net worth, right? If you're hanging out with, 5 negative people, you're going to be the 6th. You're hanging out with 5 fat dads, you're going to be the 6th fat dad.
That's so true.
If you're hanging out with 5 millionaires, then you're gonna, like we were talking about
Learn
taxes.
from that. Yeah.
We're talking about taxes, and we're talking about investing, and like, that's going to have an osmosis effect on you, based off who you surround yourself with. And I think that a lot of people are so isolated that that's the reason why they're in this. They feel like they're in this dark hole and they're not making progress in their life. And that's the reason one of the things that's so great about Core Medical is there is a community around it.
Like, in an amazing community, you know what I mean? Like, the people we met and reconnect with and everything. And, you bring that up, and, like, Nick, you're very successful in what you did. And I just was asking you, I've been your dear friend for 8+ years. And we were talking about, you're giving me a lot of good pointers, because everybody knows that little Mel runs everything. And it's so easy for me. I don't have to pay attention to it. And I said, wait, when you came out of the service, I go, you didn't have nothing, right? You go, no, not a thing.
Not a thing, man.
It's broke, and it's not about, the financial thing, but you got a good crew around you.
Yeah.
From your wife to your children to your Johnny Slicks, the community.
Whole team, yeah.
So it is very important to have that good community around you. I could never do it. If I had, and I say this, and Mel knows this, I had some amazing, great women in my life. I spent a lot of years with girls. I had a girl through all this stuff, 8 years and 6 years. I had multiple of them, but they were good women to me, right? But I wasn't ready at the time.
Yeah.
I could have met Melissa back in the day, and I would have blew that.
Yeah.
I just was not ready for any kind of commitment. Thank God I didn't.
Yeah.
And without her in my life, I mean, she's so positive to me. In times that I sometimes wasn't positive. We're sitting in traffic one day when I first moved her to Chicago, and I'm getting aggravated. I'm like, this effing traffic, And she goes, boy, you would have probably killed to be in this traffic a year or so ago. And I go, wow, you got a good point. I'm bitching about shit like this. I'm in a new vehicle, we're in traffic, and I'm mad. Yeah. You got a good point. So, she's been in that positivity for me, and God put her in my life when I really could use her and needed her and stuff like that, and so huge on the community. And over here at Core, we've seen the growth that we've had in the last 8+ years with this community, the military, and meeting some amazing people through the military and these events that we're at and the doors that they open for us and stuff like that. The community we say we have at Core is just unbelievable.
And through that, that's exactly how the this weekend that's coming up, well, in February, got started, was the military appreciation weekend. And it started small. You remember that first one?
First one, yeah.
It was super, super small. And now it's grown into...
This is the 5th year we're coming on. I have the dates. It's the Military Appreciation Weekend is February 26th to March 1st this next year,
And tickets are going to be launched here soon.
Very shortly, yes.
Matter of fact, if you're listening to this, they might already be launched.
Yes, it's going to put everything up. And what a difference in how we've grown into that, and the people we have, and all the activities that we do for, all of our guests that come to this, and the bands playing, and the raffles that we do. I believe last year, I believe we raised somewhere around 60, 70,000 in from our auctions.
I'm pushing for 200,000.
I heard you say that today in the meeting.
Oh, no, I'm like, come on, man. So if you guys don't know, the foundation is the one that puts on the event, the Core Medical Foundation, and it we started to, obviously because of my involvement, Rocco's involvement, we started to get a lot of veterans in.
Yeah.
And guys that were in a really dark spot, and I was in that dark spot personally. And again, isolated, no community, trying to do things on my own, and just in a horrible spot.
Yeah.
And thank God that things didn't turn out the way that I had planned.
Yeah.
My plan.
Of course. Yeah.
But that's when things started to turn around, was getting a blood test, getting my hormones checked, taking ownership of stuff, and then surrounding myself with the right people.
Yeah.
And that's when things just started to go up and up
They
and up.
did.
But there's guys that are in that stuck spot, and they're isolated, they're stuck in the spot, they don't have funds, so the foundation raises money to help veterans for their first year of hormone therapy.
Yes, we do.
And
So cool.
that is saving a lot of the veterans that I even hate to even say it, but the people that commit suicide.
Yeah.
I don't think that they want to die. I think that they, from my personal experience of working with veterans, and then also talking to these people and doing the stuff in the Agoge that I've done, I think they're just exhausted. I think they're tired, and they just want a momentary peace.
That break
of the pressure.
Yeah.
And the sadness and the stress. They just want to break from it. So unfortunately, they make a permanent decision off a temporary feeling.
Right. Yeah.
Man, the foundation is so powerful, because if we can get guys that can't afford it, right? They're at the worst, they're at the rock bottom, and get them on hormones, man, it will save so many people's lives.
The coolest thing I think that I say about these weekends, I say it's my favorite weekend of the year, our medical, or the event, is we always see people come, and they'll come by themselves. One guy will come by himself, and they are sitting at the table with some other people, and they become best of friends. We've watched so many relationships get built at our military weekend, our military, and it's not just for our military. We just call it the Core Medical Military Appreciation Weekend.
Appreciation. We're a lot of people can come, but everybody comes. But it's really the whole point of it is to raise the money that we can take care of veterans for the entire year.
For the veterans and stuff. Yeah. So we see, I bring my personal friends come, and we're growing every year. But the thing that I just see is we always stay in contact with them. We're there every year, so we meet new people, and they become like family to us. But to see a guy like a friend of ours now, this guy Chris came all by himself 2 years ago. And he's like, the guys were like, hey man, this is an open table, the big round table, sit over here. And guys like Anvil were sitting there, and they all became friends. Next thing you know, they're vacationing with each other and their families and stuff like that.
They're no longer isolated. Their life starts to go back up.
Yes, man. It's the open heart policy, man.
Sid and I talked about this long ago, and I was like, we had this idea for this thing. And I was like, that's what we said. I said, we just need to do this foundation thing. Guys can't afford it. I understand that, VA is not going to take care of them. This isn't happening. So we got to do it on our own.
Yeah.
And that's when things started to take off. And, but the thing is you get a guy, get his hormones regulated. I mean, what happens.
Oh man. Game changer.
It's a game changer. And all of a sudden they're fired up. They're like, I got goals. I want to accomplish things. I want to go bang my wife. You know what I mean? Like he's like, I got too many things that I want to do, and that's really, that was the whole point of it. Is like, yeah, you're stuck on the couch, you're drinking, you're doing the whole, you know, negative Nancy victim stuff, sitting by yourself and isolated, and then we get you with core, and the foundation takes care of you, and all of a sudden, like a year later, you're like, you're just ready to like crush everything.
I say this all the time.
Boom,
you know,
there you go. Testosterone and Jesus. We came full circle.
I love, bro. We're doing something with that.
We're doing with that,
for
yeah.
Sure. I say this all the time because, you know, I'm pretty hands-on with the patients, especially if they're DMing me and hitting me up. Back in the day when we came aboard, we did all that ourselves, passed them off to the patient coordinator, and they did all the work. You know, they had a, you know, now we're growing so big, by the grace of God, we're so big that there's teams, right? But I still talk to the people that come in. You know, if I meet them at a bodybuilding show or I'm meeting them somewhere, I still talk to them. And if I had $1 for every time the wife got on the phone with me after he's 4 or 5 weeks into his protocol got on the phone and said, "Thank you for giving me my husband back."
That's right.
And I chuckle and I said, "Listen, he was always there. He just needed a little help. He was insufficient in the hormones, right?" And she goes, "You know, thank you." Well, one guy texts me, he goes, "Mel, I know we never met. Been your patient for a year." He goes, "Can I FaceTime you?" And I said, "Absolutely, man. I'm sitting at home FaceTime. I go put a shirt on because I'm in Florida. I'm up by my pool. Go put a shirt on and stuff, you know."
You ever wonder where Mel's at? He's shirtless in his pool. That's where he's at.
And that's a fact. I try to do everything I can from the pool. If I'm on the phone, I'm doing it from the pool. What's better? Or walk in my yard, right? I'm walking the yard, getting tan. I love the sun. So anyways, I said, "Sure, you could." And he FaceTimes me and stuff and said, "I wanted to introduce you to my wife," and introduced me to my wife. And I said, "How are you?" She goes, "Good, Mel." She goes, we just want to thank you, Mel. You really took your time with my husband, and you really, you know, and now he's 4 or 5 weeks into the protocol. She goes, "We got a nickname for you around the house." I go, "Oh, you do?" I go, "This ought to be good." I go, "What is it?" She goes, "We call you the Dick Doctor." And I go, "Well, that's definitely part of the aspect of it, right?" Sure. So, you know what I mean? I'm glad he's back in that aspect. But, you know, he had a business and he's working more hours at the business. And, you know, I mean, listen, I watched you come in, you know what I mean? And you were just, you know, much heavier. You had the long hair. You had, you know, you were always good Nick, but your drive was, I mean, you were just, Then all of a sudden to see now you get clicking on all cylinders, and we watched you not only metamorphed into what you are. I mean, you eventually cut your hair and, you know, did all that, but changed it all the way around. Now you're a superstar and BJJ and doing all this cool stuff. You could have not did that when your hormones ain't correct.
I'm 43 years old, man. There's no way I'm working on 3 businesses. You know, I got 4 kids, just adopted a baby.
Yep.
Doing jiu-jitsu, it's not happening.
Not happening.
It's not happening.
And, you know, I've always known the hormone game because I started bodybuilding when I was 16. So by the time I was 19, there was a doctor in my neighborhood, and he gave me my first shot of DECA, you know, the first shot of some anabolics, right? And then I started reading into things, and I'm like, okay, well, this testosterone is the hormone that's in our body. Because I was that youngster like... I'm not taking the bro science from the guys in the gym. If I'm going to take something, I want to know why. Yeah. You just can't tell me to take this testosterone, but I need to know why I'm taking it. Right. I always was inquisitive. When I grew up, I was a He-Man fan. I watched He-Man every day, and I said as a young kid, I want to look like that. And, you know, 20 years later, I kind of accomplished that, right? Yeah. Minus the long hair. So I was always intrigued. I needed to know why. I want to know how I get big in bodybuilding and stuff like that. So I was always taking the testosterone and the hormones. So I always had that fuel and stuff like that. Then when I retired from the bodybuilding at 40, I went on just the testosterone replacement. I cut all the other anabolics out, right? So one time I went off my replacement, and 7 years ago, I got a stent. I had a little blockage in one of my heart arteries. The doctor said, "You're young, you're 49, let's do a stent." So I quit taking my testosterone replacement. So 5 weeks later, I go in for my first checkup at the doc, and he goes, "Hey, Mel, I need some blood work." I go, "I'm going to do it through my company, through Core, because we're so extensive with the blood testing." He goes, "I just need to see all your cholesterol." I go, "I'm going to do everything, my hormones." So I bring him the paperwork in, and he's looking, and he goes, "Mel, let me ask you a question. Your partner's in a hormone company. Why is your testosterone 200 when the range is 300 to 1,000? Why is it 200? And I said, "Well, doc, I went off the replacement because I didn't know what you were going to tell me. Stent, the heart stuff. I didn't know if you're going to be like, that's not for you." And the cardiologist, one of the top cardiologists in my neighborhood said, "I want to see your testosterone levels in a healthy range." your estrogen's sky high because I quit taking the testosterone. I kept converting. Of course, our testicles are shut off. I was already 49. He said, I think as a doctor, I'm not a hormone specialist. He goes, well, wouldn't you want your testosterone in the 600-700s? He goes, you're so active. And I said, Doc, I'm all in for starting again. But I wanted to hear you first. I wanted to hear what you're going to tell me because you are also our family friend. And he goes, Mel, you're not doing what you used to do back in the day. If you're taking 100 milligrams or whatever, you're going to take a testosterone. So at 56, I run 100 milligrams of testosterone a week, which is a half a cc. And we're using obviously pharmaceutical, brand name pharmaceutical testosterone. I always check out in 750, 800, depending on the day I test.
56.
At 56. Perfect for me.
Yeah.
I don't need a blue pill.
Feel great.
I feel great. You know what I mean?
Pills are just for fun now.
Just for fun now, yeah.
If you want to have a long night.
If you really want to be a rock star, right? Which my days are over of that. So, I'm running around. I help run the IFBB, the MPC. We promote 3 shows. I'm the partner here at Core Medical. And, like you, we're just running the gamut. I mean, I'm leaving here tomorrow night, jumping on a plane and going to Texas. So
that's funny. It's funny you say that because, I just did the same thing. We were in Texas at a gala, got on a plane, flew home that night, was home after midnight, stayed up with the baby because, Allie had been there alone. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to let you sleep because I'm in the same day. So I landed in the same day that I flew down here.
Oh, yeah.
And then I leave here tomorrow night, land, go get a couple hours of sleep, wake up in the morning, we're going to Vegas. Within a couple hours.
Right in there,
into Worlds for her competition.
Try that without any testosterone in your body.
You would be wrecked. There's no way. And then not only that, I gotta perform.
Yeah.
You gotta get there and actually do shit.
Yeah.
Be a dad.
You're going to work.
I got a baby. I got a 5-year-old. We gotta be there. I gotta be a support system for her.
Yeah.
Competing. And there's just no way, Mel.
No.
There's no way that I'm doing that at my age and then on the phone talking to everybody, managing businesses. It's just not happening.
And how about the timing now? We see they took the black box label off everything, right? With the women.
30-something years of the
telling
black box warning.
Yes, telling the women, especially the women now. It just came out right for the women. You don't take any hormones, don't take no estrogen, don't take any testosterone. This ain't what you need. There's this warning label on it. Now they just come out and say, we made a big mistake. Oops. Wow, a lot of women got sick from not having their hormones into play. A lot of women got this, a lot of women got that,
And because of birth control and because of all the stuff that's been going on and they're pushing these, and my wife's a big component for hormone replacement therapy in women. She's 40 now. And, the IVF that we did so many rounds of IVF with Dimitri, our 5-year-old, and then also with trying again after him, that didn't work. That's why we adopted. But at some point, and then I had a vasectomy reversal.
Yeah.
I don't condone vasectomies or reversals at this point. Don't mess with your junk.
Just leave it, right?
Just leave it alone.
Yeah. You went in there twice, bro.
Yeah,
wow.
Man, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, I went in there 3 times because we did IVF. So they went on the one side and then did the epidectomy where they take the sperm out, and that's how Dimitri was born.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, anyways, don't mess with it, guys. Don't mess with it. They're actually seeing now that. Just that amount of trauma could give you type 1 hypergonadism.
Yeah.
Just by messing with the testicles in general. So just leave your stuff alone, man.
For sure.
Leave your stuff alone. Sure. Stay clean.
Yeah.
God made you
perfect. He didn't make no mistakes.
He didn't make no mistakes.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Stop dicking around with it.
Yeah.
Unintended.
Yeah, for sure. That was it.
But legitimately, there's no way at 56 or 43, the amount of stuff that we're doing that you're doing this stuff and you're having the quality of life that you're having.
I love when we get a new patient in and he has no idea, never took any testosterone, because we know a lot of people that did back in the day, abused the hormones and they had no idea. I say the typical.
Definitely not in special operations.
You guys are clean.
That's definitely there's nothing happening there.
Yeah. So, I call him the guy, the banker, the guy sitting behind the desk and stuff. He has no idea what testosterone is from a bowl of oatmeal and stuff. And I tell him, okay, let's see when you come back in. You're calling me up. Something's got to be wrong. I said, because, that's why I tell people, hey, my friend wants you to call him. I go, have your friend call me. because don't waste my time having me call your friend. He's not serious about it. When he calls me, you're not going to go to the dentist unless you got a toothache, right?
Right.
Let him call me. Then I know he's serious. Calls me up. I say, okay, let's see where your blood work comes back and see where you're at. Blood work comes back. Most of these guys, even for young 40s, like you 30s, they're always 400 and under. It just, if the foods we eat, sapping the testosterones, right? So
being sedentary, all that.
All that stuff. So I tell him, okay, doc's going to get a hold of you. Going to do your telehealth call. Probably going to raise your testosterone to 800, 850, 900. You're only in your 30s. You know what I mean? I go, call me in 4 weeks, please. He goes, what? I go, I just want to hear how you feel because I know what you're going to be telling me. He goes, it's going to happen that quick? I go, it's going to happen quicker than that. It's a medication. It's going in your bloodstream. It's raising your testosterone. But just give I want to talk to you at the 4-week mark because I know what's going to happen. And they call me and they're like, man, dude, what a difference. We are alert. I got rid of the brain fog. Finally, my stomach fat's leaving. You know what I mean? And I'm just got the energy now to do cardio. I had no energy to go to the gym. I love that guy that never had anything to do with anything because they're so appreciative,
Yeah, the swing on it is so much more.
Yeah. So
well, at the end of the day, like this is what it comes down to. Is like you need take ownership of your stuff. Be around your network is your net worth. Like be around positive people, right? But if you don't, then go find it.
And I like to say this. I know we're coming close to an end here, and I like to say this. In this day and age, if you are not your own advocate for your health,
that's it.
You are in big trouble, guys. Yeah. You are in big trouble because if you're going to go listen to the white coat dude, and I'm not saying all conventional doctors are bad. I'll never say that. But if you're going to go listen to the average white coat dude that is trying to say, take this medication, take this statin, take this. You don't worry about what you look like on paper. We got something for you. And you're not doing the research. I'm watching a lot of people hurt themselves with these medications and coming up with some bad things. There's a reason some of these medications are on a TV commercial saying, if you died or you got these 72 side effects. It will
cause heart attacks, anal leakage, brain explosion, and erectile dysfunction.
Insane with the amount of side effects some of these medications have. You do not need to be on them if you can fix it through your hormones and something in some a better way here, an alternative way. So I tell everybody, try that first.
Get your blood test.
You see what's happening. The blood tells the story. Yeah. Get your blood test. Stop listening to what they're trying to pump in your head. Now they got a new thing out. If your blood pressure is 120/80, now you're hypertensive again. They keep dropping the standards, dropping the levels, so you can't meet the standards because they got a medication for you. You know how that goes. So it's
guys, and so here's the deal: get your blood tested. That's step one. 2, if you don't have a community, come hang out with us.
Absolutely.
Come to the core medical event in February. Come meet us. Come shake our hand. Come hug our neck in person.
Yes.
In person. Come hang out with us in person. Get to know who these people that care. Like there's a lot of hate on the internet and a lot of I've noticed now that the people that comment negatively on the internet, if I did a blood test, they're probably low testosterone, high estrogen.
Yeah,
I'm convinced of this.
Yeah,
all trolls have a testosterone problem. They're just hormonally imbalanced.
Could you imagine? You don't have the time. Even if you were, could you? As busy as you are,
I don't have time.
Could you imagine you're typing remarks?
I don't even respond to people that do it anymore.
Right.
I don't have time.
Yeah,
I just either hide it or block them. I'm like,
it's crazy.
So
DM
guys,
us, DM us, guys.
Get that link. I'd love to see every single person here at Sid's house, the CEO's house in South Carolina. I'd love to hang out with you guys. I know Mel would love to hug your neck. Go check out that link, DM Core Medical Group, and get that link and get signed up and come visit us in South Carolina, February 26th to the March
February 26th to March 1st. Yes, brother. Yes. And DM Nick. If you guys are following Nick, DM Nick. If you guys are following me, DM me. Our Core Medical website. Go and see it. This is an amazing event. It's not expensive to attend this.
No.
We eat most of the cost.
And all the money goes to the foundation.
All the money goes to the foundation to help out the veterans. And there's so much stuff to do, from fishing off Sid's dock to shooting to rolling around and with BJJ with some of the best
There's
guys.
my challenge. Come beat my ass on the mats because we'll do a jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, Nick's on the BJJ. We got MJ from the UFC, Michael Johnson. That's throwing the mitts with people. So much cool stuff to do. Kids are welcome. We have the bounce house for the kids.
Dimitri's in that bounce house.
Your boy's in there. My wife is, of course, the bartender for the event, and she kind of oversees the kids section because it's not too, she can turn her head to the left and all the bounce houses are, and then she's keeping an eye on the kids, and then she's keeping an eye on the adults to make sure they weren't at the bar too many times, of course, right?
Thank
So
you,
it's,
Mel.
thank you. Big shout out to Little Mel on that one. It's great. So Nick, it's I know we're wrapping it up.
Yeah.
An amazing one again, and I know you'll share this on your, always forward is still, right?
No, it's just my name now.
Oh, it is.
Simple. We don't have time, man.
You just
Nick Kumalazzo.
just dropped it because it was always. It was always forward, right?
Yeah, it used to be always
that
forward.
was what it was, and now it's just yours. Okay.
But this is the Sidney Gordon podcast. Though I'm going to put this.
This is the Sidney Gordon podcast. So we were acting appropriate today.
I hope we didn't do anything wrong, Sid. I love you. It wasn't intentional.
We love you, Sidney.
But guys, thank you so much for listening. And please share this with a friend that needs to hear it. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye,
guys.